Imagine leaving your front door at age 21 and not coming back for 29 years. Imagine covering 75,000 miles across 44 modern countries, entirely without engines, compass apps, or GPS. This chart compares his total journey to the most famous explorer of the era, Marco Polo. Ibn Battuta traveled 3 times further. His story begins in Tangier, Morocco. Born in 1304 into a respected family of Islamic judges, he grew up surrounded by a traditional legal education. In 1325, he packed his bags to complete the Hajj, the mandatory pilgrimage to Mecca. He expected a straightforward fulfillment of his religious duty, but that single departure triggered a sequence of events that kept him out on the road for the rest of his life. Look at this map comparing the standard routes to Mecca. While most pilgrims simply took the direct sea crossing, he chose a grueling 3,000-mile overland path through the deserts of North Africa. Passing through Egypt and Syria, his mind opened. He studied in massive hubs of Islamic learning, walking through courtyards built with stunning golden mosaics. By 1326, he finally reached Mecca. Standing among the vast crowds circling the Kaaba, he officially completed his requirement. With his religious obligation fulfilled, he could have easily turned back. Instead, a deep curiosity took hold, and he made the quiet decision to keep walking. Over the next few years, he pushed deeper into Iraq and Persia, eventually sailing down to the wealthy trading hubs of the Swahili coast in East Africa. From there, his route took a sharp turn north. He cut straight through Anatolia and crossed the Black Sea into the vast wind-swept steppes of Central Asia. He arrived in legendary Silk Road cities like Samarkand and Bukhara, marveling at the monumental architecture built for scholars and merchants. He even detoured entirely out of the Islamic world, stepping inside the capital of the Byzantine Empire to gaze at the massive dome of the Hagia Sophia. Because of his legal background, he rarely traveled as an outsider. Local rulers actively recruited him to serve as a judge, integrating him directly into the highest courts of the empires he visited. That legal expertise brought him to the Delhi Sultanate in 1333, where he was appointed chief judge under the shadow of its imposing towers. The ruler, Sultan Muhammad bin Tughlaq, showered him with immense wealth, but operated with terrifying unpredictability. Courtiers were executed on a whim. He navigated this dangerous court for 8 years by remaining intensely loyal, keeping a low profile, and anticipating the Sultan's shifting moods. Surviving Delhi, clued at covering thousands of miles, required immense physical endurance, but staying alive required sharp political cunning. His luck nearly ran out when the Sultan sent him on a diplomatic mission to China. Off the coast, back-to-back shipwrecks obliterated his fleet, sinking his wealth and drowning his crew. Penniless, he eventually reached the Chinese port of Quanzhou. He marveled at their massive ships, paper money, and the flawless craftsmanship of their porcelain. Stripped of his titles and his past, he stood on the easternmost edge of the known world, completely isolated from everything he knew. When he finally turned back toward Morocco, the world was collapsing. The Black Death was tearing across the globe. Passing through Syria and Egypt, he documented the grim reality of silent cities and mass graves, as the plague wiped out millions. In 1349, 24 years after he left, he arrived in Tangier. His parents had died, and the home he remembered was gone, so he kept moving. He launched final expeditions up into Spain and down across the Sahara to the mud-brick mosques of the Mali Empire. The concept of a physical home no longer made sense to him. The road itself had become his permanent address. In 1355, the Sultan ordered him to dictate his memories. The manuscript became known as the Rihla, or the Journey. Today, historians rely on it as the definitive first-hand record of the 14th century world, capturing the politics and culture of dozens of empires. Ibn Battuta built history's greatest journey on nothing more than a 21-year-old's unyielding curiosity. He outpaced the reach of every medieval empire simply by refusing to stop walking, proving the quote he eventually left behind: "To travel is to live."